Hello and welcome to John's Author Diary for the week ending January the 7th, 2018. I'm still not back at the writing desk since before Christmas, but that's going to change tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and carrying on, getting to the end of this first draft of Blind Gambit. I had a really fun Christmas, saw lots of family. I've got a 5-year-old son who enjoyed all his new toys, but I think he's ready tomorrow to go back to school, and I'm certainly itching to write again. This isn't to say I haven't managed to be productive. I've got a lot of stuff done that isn't putting words on a page towards a story. I've done a lot of world building for an epic fantasy series, and I've even done an outline for 2 of the main characters in that series. So it feels really good to have stuff chugging along, squeezing 5 minutes in here and there, getting this world building Bible built up, this document that will obviously come in so useful when I finally get down to writing. I've also been doing a lot of stuff related to the collaborative project. So I've got 2 co-authors that I'm going to be working with on some projects. So we've got a podcast to launch called Otaku on Writing, which I'm really looking forward to. We're essentially going to be delving into some classic anime movies and seeing what we can learn from them, and hopefully that'll lead us on to writing more short fiction and things like that. And these are the same authors who I'm also working on the Black Death series with, and I'm really pleased that we've now come up with titles for the story. So we've got the first novel, which will be called Black Death Outbreak, and we've just received a proof for the cover from our designer, and it looks awesome. So I'm really excited to launch that. I'm waiting for the other 2 covers at the moment, and I'm like a kid waiting for Christmas. I'm just so excited to see them because I'm using the same designer who did the covers to Wizards of the Wasteland and that series, and anyone who's seen that series knows that those covers are excellent and really high quality, really effective covers. So I'm really pleased to get her back. Now, because she's so awesome, she was booked about 6 months in advance, so I've had this trilogy booked for months, and I was originally intending for it to be for my own solo projects, but it's just fortuitous that this has all kind of come into line, so I'm really pleased about that. Today, as I record this, I've reached 500 days in my Ray Bradbury challenge. I've not given up. I'm still going on. I'm halfway there. This, if you haven't seen my website or listen to any of these podcasts, is where I listen to a short story, an essay and a poem every single day for 1,000 days. I figured I should read a Ray Bradbury story to mark that, so I read Rocket Man, which was a really cool story from his Illustrated Man collection. I think 500 poems, 500 short stories is a nice amount to have read. I don't think a lot of people read 500 short stories in their lifetime, probably a fraction of that. And I think by doing it, I've learnt so much about writing and about storytelling. I think every story teaches me something. Even if it's a bad story, I can learn from that. So if you're a reader, if you're a writer, I would highly, highly recommend taking on the Ray Bradbury Challenge. I've done it for 500 days. I'm now a bit worried about what I'm going to do when the experience is over. I've only got another 500 days left. Who knows, maybe I'll double the challenge, maybe I'll go for 2,000, or maybe I'll just do it, maybe it'll just be a habit forever. If you've not done so already, you can follow along on my website, it's johncronshaw.com. I post every day what I do, what I read, so you can keep up there, check out the recommendations. Just go onto my website and click on Ray Bradbury Challenge in the sidebar and see all the fun and exciting things I've been reading. As well as the writing stuff, I am also another step closer to getting a guide dog. He is currently in my house. He's come to stay for the weekend. He's a golden retriever called Digit. He seems a lot more chilled out than my last guide dog called Watson, and it's just very sweet, very cuddly. And I'm really looking forward to training with him properly so we can gel and work with each other going forward. So this might disrupt the diary schedule for this because, all being well, I'll be going onto residential training for a fortnight, and then immediately after that I've got a book conference in London. So it's going to be a hectic few weeks from the end of January to the start of February, but I've really missed having a dog, so I cannot wait. I will be taking this microphone with me and my laptop, and hopefully where I'm going to stay there will be some internet connection, or if not, I'll try and do it through my phone. If not, then there won't be a diary, but I will try. I will endeavour. So I think last time I recorded one of these, I was reading Gene Wolfe's Book of the New Sun. I finished that, and no surprises to find out that I thought it was excellent, loved it. I was browsing the RNIB library after I finished that just to see what else Gene Wolfe had done, and I discovered a book called The Earth of the New Sun, which is essentially a coda or a follow-up to the Book of the New Sun. And so I read this as well, and I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. I wasn't as impressed. It felt more like fan fiction, and it seemed to lack a lot of the mystery and strangeness of the Book of the New Sun. There didn't seem to be as many puzzles, and a lot of things that were left unsaid within the Book of the New Sun that you kind of had to piece together were just put out there and just outlined. Perhaps if it wasn't part of the same series, perhaps if I didn't go in with the expectations of it being another book like the Book of the New Sun, maybe I would have enjoyed it more. But this one, unfortunately, didn't do it for me. As well as this, I've also been reading another book on craft. I say I try to read one of these a month. I think I read about 2 or 3 a month, if I'm honest. But I've been reading a lot recently about things like characters and outlining stories. I like to outline my story. I like to have a structure there. I like to plan in advance so that when I actually sit down to write, I'm not sitting there with writer's block going, ooh, what do I need to do? So I find the whole idea of having a structure and outline really helpful. But I've found a lot of books about outlining and structure seem to fall back on the same types of structures, the same types of things that you must include in order for it to be a story. And to be honest, it doesn't leave you a lot of wiggle room for telling a different type of story. So I've been reading a book called Take Off Your Pants by Libby Hawker. And in writing circles is essentially a debate between people who are what's known as pantsers. These are people who write without planning. They just sit down and write, and then a lot of the work that would usually go into outlining, they end up having to rewrite and redo drafts and a lot of editing to pull a story out of the first draft that they've written. And so this is a book essentially about outlining stories effectively. And there was something about this book where the penny dropped for me, and I think it will change the way I think about stories and the way I build them from the ground up. A lot of the time I've thought about plot and character as kind of parallel things, and having these as the focus of my storytelling. And with this method, it's building up a story from the idea of a theme and then character, and plot is almost way down at the bottom as a priority to plan. And so now I'm starting to think about scenes in a different way. The idea that every scene should link back to the theme, this central core theme of a novel should always link back to the core story idea. And so I'm going to try that with this epic fantasy series when I've been planning these characters and planning their stories. I've not been doing it in the way that I've been doing things before, which is very led by action and plot and what kind of changes can happen to the character. This one is going to be more thematic. And so I've got 3 characters who all have the same theme going on. It's this idea of obsession and how you've got to overcome your obsession, otherwise it's ultimately going to destroy you. So I've got 3 very different characters who all have this obsession, this drive, and their lives intermingle throughout the story and come together. So I'm very excited to just try this different way of working, and I think this is the position that a lot of writers should be in. I think we need to try different methods, different strategies, different ways of working, because writing a novel's really hard. It takes a long time. You've got to invest a lot of time. And if you can find different ways to improve what you're doing, make it more efficient, then over time this will mean that you're going to be telling better stories and be a better writer. So, next week, more writing. Can't wait. Remember, you can check me out on Facebook. It's facebook.com/John Cronshaw author. I'm also on the Twitter. It's at JL Cronshaw. And I've now got a pinned tweet on my Twitter where you can go and you can download Addict of the Wasteland, which is the introduction to my Wasteland series, so you can check that out, give it a read. It's completely free, and if you don't like it, then feel glad that you haven't invested in the series. So I've not got any questions this week. If you want to send me a question, please email me. It's john@johncronshaw.com. So until next time, cheerio.